everyone, Jason here. Today I'm going to create a cast of my hands using the ingredients from the Luna Bean Keepsake Hands Plaster Statue Kit. What is provided in the Luna Bean kit here is you're going to have the alginate compound, which is going to create the mold of the hands in very, very fine detail. And then afterwards, they provide a plaster that we're going to use to fill the mold and create the plaster form of our hands, the cast there, that will look similar to something like these that I have on the side. So I've created some before with a different smooth-on kit, and this is essentially just a plaster cast here with a primer over top and a gold spray. So what I'm going to use with this kit is I'm going to try to create essentially a little heart of my hands and put it in the kit right here. It does not take too long for the alginate to solidify, so you do want to mix it and put your hands in quick before it solidifies, otherwise you could waste an entire kit. So we'll get started there in here just a second. First, we're gonna have all the ingredients out and everything ready to go, knowing that it doesn't take too long for it to solidify. So we have 8 cups of water measured out in a container right here that I provided on my own that did not come in the kit. Obviously you could use any container that you would want. I also have a blender just for ease of mixing the alginate in the container that I'm going to pour into this, and then I'm going to wait for that to solidify. I'm going to remove my hands, and then afterwards going to fill it with the plaster, which will also be mixed with a lesser quantity of water. Alright, so we're going to start with the water. Now with the water, there are some things to keep in mind. First, you do want a pretty accurate measurement of the water in there. So like I said, it does come that you do want to have 8 cups in a container ready to go. Now with the water, generally you're not going to want tap water. It's better to have purified water or distilled water, as it won't have any minerals or anything like that in the water that could mess up the mold in any way, giving you finer detail in the end result of your mold, therefore the cast coming out of it. I have some distilled water here, and it is at room temperature. The colder the water is, the longer it will take to solidify. So water at room temperature will take about 3 to 4 minutes to fully solidify around your hands, which is a decent working time, but do keep that in mind that once it is blended and ready to go, it's only going to last 3 minutes. So you insert your hands, keep them there, and right after you found that maybe 4 minutes have passed, you can remove your hands, and it should keep a perfect form of even the detail down to the fingerprints of your hand on the cast that will eventually come out. So we're going to pour the water straight into the container here, which is 8 cups. Now this is the container that we're going to be using to actually insert my hands once the alginate is mixed. So we're going to pour in the alginate next using the blender, and we're going to blend it really quick. Starting off, it does kind of have a white tint to it, but once it is fully mixed, it's going to turn from about a pinkish to a purple color, or have the pink color at the end of it once it is fully mixed. So I'll have one color detail, knowing that you do have all of the water and everything mixed together with the alginate compound. So I'm going to do that really quick, and we'll come back to the video and insert the hands and get going from there. Alright, so now that the alginate is mixed, you can see that it does have that pink to purple tint. It's starting to solidify already, so I'm going to want to wet my hands, rub them together a little bit, shake off the excess water. This is going to allow them to come out easily. And then I'm going to insert it in the fashion that I want. And it'll overflow a little bit, which is alright. And I'm going to want to position myself in the way that I'm going to want the mold to come out. Okay, so now that about 5 minutes has passed, it has solidified, as you can see. I'm going to wiggle around a little bit to kind of let the mold release from my hands. And then I'm just going to slowly come out. There we go. And you can see the detail down there. So I'll wait a few minutes, and then we will fill it up with a mixture of the other casting stone, which is about 2.5 pounds, and that will easily fill both hand segments here. All right, so I created the mold with the alginate here, and next I measured out 3 cups of cold water that I'm going to mix the casting stone, the plaster with. What we're shooting for is like a paint-like thickness to this, so we can pour it right in. If it's kind of chunky or kind of tough, keep stirring it, add a little bit more water at a time to try to get to that paint-like thickness that is pourable into the mold. It'll take a little bit to set in. You can leave it for a little while, and then afterwards we're just going to pull the entire thing out, peel apart the alginate, and there you'll have your cast. Okay, so now that I've mixed it into a paint-like thickness, and I would use a container that you probably are okay with throwing away, as this stuff does stick very, very hard to the container that you'll be using. We're going to pour it right into the mold. Also, again, put something underneath it, whether it be newspaper or whatever, as whatever you spill will, again, be very hard to clean up. So we're just going to pour this right in. Okay, so approximately about 4 hours and 30 minutes has passed since this mold was poured. I'm going to flip it over and remove the cast from the mold by just peeling the alginate from it and using a little bit of small tweezers as well to get these smaller portions of the alginate out from in between the fingers, if any are there. So we're going to flip it over really quick and start doing that. So after all the alginate was removed, there's the end product. You can see the fine detail, the veins in the hand, the creases of the knuckles, fingernails, everything. Comes out very, very well in alginate from the cast mold with the plaster being used at the end there. It does take a while to get it out of all the creases and everything like that. But overall came out pretty well. It does take, about 4 to 6 hours sitting in the alginate mold before you can remove the plaster cast from it. But after that, it takes another about a day for it to fully harden. But if you want to paint it at this point, all you got to do, I recommend spraying it down with a primer first. I can actually show you the difference between a primer sprayed on first versus just a paint. This is one sprayed without primer versus a more glossy look. Looks quite a bit better when it has a primer on first. So, a glossy versus a pretty matte finish look.